Hi, sweetheart. It's Gig. I've been thinking about you for the past couple of days, and I always take that as a sign I need to call or I haven't heard your voice or whatever.
What made Graham so special? For me, I was the only one that called her Graham, and I know that doesn't really mean much, but it always felt like we had this bond, and, you know, I wasn't able to spend as much time with her through the years as I would have liked, and it didn't matter in so many ways because I always felt her love. I always felt her closeness to me, even if it had been months without seeing each other. I can still remember pulling up in the driveway and she would just laugh and scream and just give me the biggest hug, and I miss that. And I wish that I could just tell her that I love her, and honestly I wish I could just tell her thank you for everything, and there's not a day goes by where I don't think about her and miss her. Just wish that I could have a meal with her and just to hear her voice. Yeah, I think what made her so special was she was such a human. She understood our faults. She understood how to love people and give them what they really needed without judgment. And she represented everything a mother, a grandmother, a woman should be in this world. And I'm so grateful to have had her in my life. And I carry her with me every single day, and I know that she is somewhere out there watching over all of us. And I love you, Graham, and I wish I could hear your voice. And so thank you for everything. Thank you for being a rock, for always loving me and always being there for me. I love you.
So I'm the one that named her Gigi because I could not say Graham. And then everybody after me just kind of copied me, let it be known. One of the things I think that made my grandmother so remarkable was her understanding and respect for grief's purpose in life. I think that just occurred because of necessity, but she truly had this wisdom that I don't think a lot of people develop unless you have been touched from above. Even in her final moments, you know, there was a lot of healing while she lay dying. I think she understood grief to be an integral part of what makes life worth living. And ultimately what she tried to impart was that life is good. If she was here, I think our conversation would just be one of gratitude, particularly, you know, I've taken for granted how incredible my father is. I would say up until about a couple of years ago. But I would want to thank her for raising someone as close to perfect as I think I've ever met. Gig, I still feel your presence today in the same way I did when I used to eat breakfast at your kitchen bar on Ironwood. And I'm so grateful for that because it has made this crazy thing called grief a bit more bearable. I love you, and I can't wait to see you again. In time.
Whose chair are we sitting in right now?
Gigi's chair.
Gigi's chair. And we miss Gigi so much, right? The thing that I miss most about Gigi is just our conversations. Yep. Our conversations and being able to call her and chat and get some advice. That was probably the thing I miss most. And I would have a lot of questions to ask her about raising boys. Because who's in mom's belly right now?
No, Enzo's.
Enzo, yep, is that your brother?
No, Enzo's.
Okay, yep, that's your brother. So I have a lot of questions that I'd like to ask Gigi about raising boys. But we think about her almost every day and we miss her very much, right?
I dumped you. Can you turn your phone on so I can watch my cookie today?
This is Joseph, son of Martin, fourth grandchild to Joanne. I'd like to share with my Gigi what made her so special was that she always made me feel special. No matter what was going on in her life, she made sure that she gave me her full attention. She asked about what's going on in my life. She made me feel like I was the only thing that mattered to her. A message I'd like to share with her a year away from her passing is that I miss her and love her, and that I hope to show the same kindness and generosity moving forward as she's inspired me to do.
Hi, hun. Recognize where I'm sitting? So we were asked to share something that made Gig special and something we wish we could share with her now. I definitely wish I could share this home with her so she could see all of her carefully curated pieces put to good use. I know she would have her opinions. You know, hun, I think you're gonna want curtains. I think you're gonna want that to go over there. But I still would want her to see it and be a part of it. What I miss most about Gigi is really a feeling more than anything else. That feeling of being gathered in, like we would so often do around this table together as a family in her home. Gigi created a family that is not just related by blood, but bound by loyalty and a very stubborn commitment to one another. She raised sons who became friends and through them created families that are made up of some of the coolest, funniest, smartest, we take after her, people that I have the pleasure not just to call, my siblings and my cousins, but also really my friends. I've had so many people come up to me in disbelief saying, "Oh my God, your family's so remarkable. The way you guys show up and support each other. Oh, when we lost my dad, our family fought the whole way through. It was a mess." And every time I think, yeah, of course we're remarkable. We learned from the best. We learned from our Gig. Gig taught us that in times of difficulty, an individual will never be alone. She modeled what it looked like to show up for others and to choose love, to still gather folks around the table, and to delight in each other and in life. So if I had to choose what makes Gig so special, it's that she built something that will outlast her. A family that will know how to hold each other and buckle down. And while I miss her at the center of it, what comforts me is knowing that this circle that she created is still intact. We're still here, still loving each other, still showing up, still choosing one another. And this table comforts me.
Hello. Gigi was the smartest person I ever met in every way. She was so knowledgeable about so many topics, from the state of the Red Sox in a given season to the outcome and guidelines of Vatican II, and literally everything in between, which I don't think I would have ever known a person could hold all that information in their brain had I not known Gig. She was the barometer for life. I know not just for me, but for all of us. From Uncle Marty to Vigo, and soon Enzo, we are so blessed to have a piece of her within us. There are so many things I wish I could say to her right now if she was sitting here next to me, but all I would really need to say is thank you for everything, Gig. I love you, and I miss you. Which one of the sons do you think is the first to cry? I think it's Johnny Moe.
Hi, Gigi. I would like to start by sharing an excerpt from an outline that Gigi wrote when preparing for a day of reflection as a spiritual director, circa 1993. The illusion of an attainable perfection exerts a tyranny that keeps individuals alienated from themselves, others, and God. To be perfect as God is perfect is to celebrate the incorporation of our own small, individual, and imperfect selves into the wholeness of God's love. This day will offer reflections on the pervasive ways and destructive power of perfectionism and an invitation to listen to God's declaration, I love you just the way you are. Gigi had this rare ability to accept you exactly as you are, as a person who was already enough. She often said, meet others where they are. She taught me that it's okay not to be perfect. In fact, she believed it was more important to be true to yourself and to honor your limitations. She showed me that boundaries aren't failures, they're just the honest lines that define who we are. And because of Gigi, I've learned to stop apologizing for where I am and maybe where I've been. And that there's a quiet, steady power in being real rather than being perfect. And I think I just would love to share with her, while walking on the beach in Newport, perhaps, that I'm doing just that. I'm rediscovering my true self and choosing family as they choose me. I'm focusing on what drives me and fuels my passions. And I just wish I could share the ups and the downs of my journey with her and get her advice. Thank you, Gigi, for teaching me that I am worthy exactly as I am. I love you, Jujubee.
Hey, Gigi. A part of this video, my cousins asked to record a few words on your behalf. One being what made you so special. And it took me a while to think what it was that was the most special thing that I could think about you. And I believe personally, and I think this is the trait I draw most out of being your grandchild, is the fact that you were such a great observer and the ability to take that level of observation and to turn it into such wonderful and engaging storytelling. And in that storytelling never really being, a biased individual or just having this level of equality in your words to deliver this message that's so wholesome and so intellectual. I know between friends, family, and my lovely girlfriend, I can be a yapper. I talk a lot, and telling stories is no stranger to my personality. So I think that was really the most special thing to me about you, Gig, was you never shied away from telling a wonderful story. And one thing that I wish I could, tell you now, if you were still here with us, but I know you're listening anyway, was I never got the actual chance to play any of the music I've been practicing and working on for the last 2 years. And while I know you're watching over me and every day that I practice, you still inspire me day in and day out to just keep practicing the stuff that I love doing. And that was a lesson, while it took me a while to develop and put to the test, I still wish this day I could have played or performed something for you. So I know you're doing that anyway from, all the way up there, but, we miss you. And, one day, I'll be able to. So love you, Geek, and we all miss you very much. Bye.
It's pretty hard to say just one thing that made Gigi so special, as I'm sure we've all been saying. I think for me, what I valued so much was I knew that when I was with Gig, I could talk about anything from clothes shopping and going to the mall to the boys driving me crazy to a huge spiritual, life-altering question. And she would approach each and every conversation with her full tenacity, listening to me fully, giving me great advice, even if I was 13 years old, talking to me like I was an adult. And I think that's what I would want to talk to her about now. I would tell her what I had for breakfast this morning and what's going on with work, and that I just got a kitten. And then somehow we would end up having this existential conversation over coffee in her living room for a few hours, and time would have just flown by. And I think about those little things and moments during the day constantly of just, oh, I wish that I could talk to Gigi about that. And we did talk about those things. I feel like I could text her or call her about anything, and even though she was my grandma, she was a friend. So yeah, love you, Gig.
So something that made Gigi super special to me was that she was a fiercely intellectual woman. She would light up a room with that laugh we all love and know. She stood up for what was right in our communities, our family, in our country, even if it wasn't popular at the time. If I could tell her anything right now, it would be that I miss her every day, and I still think about her every day. And I will continue to fight for what's right in our community, our family, and our country.
I think what made Gigi so special to me was that she was a really gentle teacher. You could always approach her with questions about being in a relationship or morality or just making a dish taste better, and she would always seem to have the right answer, but it was never a lecture. It was always with guidance and helping you get there without imposing her views onto you. If I could talk to her today, I would just want to fill her in on my life and tell her about the last year. She made it so easy to be proud of yourself, and it made sharing your life with her so rewarding, and I'd want that chance again.
Hi Gigs, I've missed you, and I've wanted to share with you what I've been up to. I recently finished up my 3rd semester here at Elon, where I was named on the Dean's List. I'm also happy to share that this summer, I'll be back up in New England and will be spending time with the rest of the family. This is, of course, while I work an internship at Suffolk Construction in Boston, and in your old stomping grounds of Rhode Island. I also wanted to share that I've made connections here at Elon with our Catholic campus ministry and had a wonderful opportunity to meet our school's friar this past Ash Wednesday, in the hopes to attend Mass more regularly at college. Of course, in your honor. Love you, Gigi.
Hi, everybody. First, I just want to say thanks for inviting me to be part of this. And as far as the prompts of what do I miss most about Gig and what would I talk with her about if I could today, I'm just going to give you the bookends on the conversation Gig and I had over the years. So the first time that we talked was at Callie's graduation. We were walking down the street in Providence midday. I was probably a few beers deep. Maybe she had had a Johnny Walker at that point already. And she turned to me. She knew we had kind of similar interests. And she said, so who are you reading lately? And I said, this psychologist who's kind of an existentialist. And she said, you like the existentialists? And I said, I do, but I've never been fully satisfied by their total faith in atheism. And she kind of looked at me and she said, have you ever read any Kierkegaard? And in that moment, I had two kind of interesting thoughts. One was I would certainly be friends with my girlfriend's grandmother. And two, who exactly am I talking to in this moment? But whoever it was a really good time. And that conversation kind of continued. And the last conversation we had was at Callie and Nolan's wedding the night before in the bar. And she was a spiritual director and my work is similar to that. And so we talked about what makes people change, what makes people think differently, how do you intervene to help someone as opposed to, critique them, all these interesting questions about life and people. And this was also amidst a party. So Gig and I are kind of hanging out there talking about these serious but fun things together. And I think that's probably what I miss most about Gig is just talking with her. She was so real and so kind of easy to chat with about anything. And also, personally for me, I think part of Gig's gift is that everyone who knew her felt like they had a special relationship with her. And so in that way, mine is no different, but that was the way that it felt. she felt special to me. You know, it's not every day that you just meet someone who's ready to speak your language, you know, whether on a Providence sidewalk or a wedding where everybody's hanging out, having a good time, and just welcome you in that way and talk about the stuff that you both really care about. And so it was really something, and I really, really appreciated it. And I know you guys loved her so much, and I only knew her for a decade or so, and I did too.
Just know that I'm thinking about you, sweetheart, and I'm missing your little voice, and I hope everything is good with you and with Nolan. Okay?
Nobody knows quite what you looked like when you were young. Now that you're older, nobody knows quite what you looked like when you were young. Now that you're older. Nobody knows quite what you looked like when you were young. Now that you're older, nobody knows quite what you looked like when you were younger. Now that you're older, search for the photograph.
You know, hon, you get to a certain point and you just want to be quiet and, I don't know, read and just have some just downtime. Anyhow, I love you, sweetheart. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay, love you, babe.
Joanne, Joanne, if only I could do it all again. I was young and didn't understand.
Take my hand, stay Joanne. Heaven's not ready for you. Every part of my aching souls in the wind must learn how to bend. Seek out a star, hold on to the end. Valley, mountain, there is a fountain, washes our tears all away. Words are swaying, someone is praying. Please let us come home to stay. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. Dreams see us through to forever, where clouds roll by. For you and I. When we are out there in the dark, we'll dream above the sun. In the dark, we'll feel the light warm our hearts, everyone. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. Dreams see us through to forever, as high as souls can fly. The clouds roll by for you.
I've been thinking about you for the last couple of days and have wanted to connect and find out how you're doing. But if you're free and available to call tonight, I'd love it to hear your voice. And if not, don't worry about it, okay? Just know that I love you and I think about you all the time, okay? Love you, honey.